At the onset, of course, I'm Mridula. The name was given to me by my mother. What I picked up from that name was resilience and perseverance. I'm an engineer by profession. I decided to do engineering while my mother was a doctor and my sister chose to be a lawyer. I chose the profession of to be a technocrat after my father, who was an engineer. Unfortunately, I never even got the chance to meet him. I was just 6 months old when my father died. I was raised by a single mother. She was the second lady to join Indian Air Force. She was a doctor, and early lessons in life began from home, like all lessons do. I was fortunate to be born to a very brave and a lady who was far ahead of her times. From her, I learned the meanings of self-respect. That's the lesson I have treasured. I passed out engineering in 1984, and there I chose the profession production. And again, I was the first production engineer and maybe of the country, because we were just two of us. After doing my engineering, I joined from the campus. I got selected in an organization which was totally technical, male dominated. It was Aisha Tractors. I was the first girl to go onto the shop floor. I was allotted the function of quality control and quality assurance. Early 6 years of my career were on the shop floor. Between came my son in 1989. That's the time I thought I'll take a break, because I wanted to spend time with my child. And I well realized that the career that I am pursuing takes long hours. So I decided to enhance my qualification and add on an MBA to it. That happened coincidentally because I was taking a break and I was freelancing and I was also teaching there, and I joined Indian Institute of Management at Indore. I did my MBA in finance. I took up a career that gave me enough time to be with my child and to manage my home and to also take care of my professional aspirations. So I took up to teaching and I joined the engineering college at Indore, which is Govindram Saxaria Institute of Engineering. And I started teaching. I was a lecturer at the Industrial Engineering and Management Department of the Institute. I was also visiting faculty to the Management Institute and also to the Business School of Economics at Indore. And I was very happily married, managing my life, my job, my home. My husband, whom I had met at Aisha, we met at the shop floor and we decided to spend a life together. So it was a very good fairy tale, and everyone thought how lucky I was. And the story that how unlucky I was when I lost my father and, and then got married to the man of my choice, how lucky is Mridula. And then getting a career of your choice, how lucky. All fairy tales have twists. So did this. And in 1994, I was at the election duty. There was a message that came, come back to the institute immediately. And then I came back to the institute, sat in uniform, were the friends of my husband. And the minute I saw them, I thought that, okay, Dang was gone. Why would they come to my college in the uniform, sitting over there? So I asked them, I said, is Dang gone? And they were quite surprised. And, they said, no, let's go home and all that. And when I went home and my whole furniture was outside and, I was wondering why so many cars. And I was sure Dang was gone. And Dang was gone, but what came in my mind was that my son was still at school. He was just 4. So, instead of getting hassled and flabbergasted about what was happening to Dang, I just said, "Can you just go and get my child?" And I went and got my son home from the school. And then I entered my home. My husband had left for an official tour to Bangalore. So I thought maybe it was an air crash, but it was my son and getting him home and keeping him safe. And that was the first thought I had in my mind. So, what I had feared all along, and I was watching it come true. And my husband was gone. And it was a 1 in a million kind of a disease, pancreatitis. He was hale and hearty, and he had left on an official tour. And just the night before we spoke, he was gone. So here was me, all of 32, a son of 4, sitting there, waiting for the Bombay authorities to, clear the remains to be transported to Indore. These are the facts, you have to be very brave to be using these terms and talking about them also. So when the box came, it said contains human remains. So that's what it becomes, the story, human remains, and those memories and everything, and all those physical forms and attractions and falling in love and 6 foot hona chahiye, everything becomes just human remains. And those realities come very difficult to accept. But what is important over here is to accept. That is the first stage of learning to live another life. So you live many lives in one life. I sat in the night. I was just working out the economics. My mother was always a source of inspiration to me. So she said, now you've tried enough all day long. Just work out the economics better. Life will not stop. It will move. You have to learn. And I lived, and I'm a living example. She was also the same age, 32, and she had 2 girls, one 6 months old and one 2.5 years of age. This was way back in 1963. I'm talking about 1994, many years ahead. Grief remains same and situations remain same and getting up and moving along remains same. How many years pass by? So what stood by me was the lesson I learned from my mother to be fiscally independent. I worked out the economics, and while I was fiscally fine, I had my own house and everything. But it's the quality of life that I needed to give to my child. While the ceremonies of 13 days were going on, I got a call from Aisha, and they said, you come back. And I joined as the head of finance and strategy. I was back to the corporate world. There started again another chapter of my life, knowing very well that survival is tough, but I survived. I created that function, finance and strategy. I moved on and on. I served for 11 years in Aisha. So Dipanshu, my son, joined engineering. He's a mechanical engineer. And he pursued me. He says, Mama, you spent so many years in Aisha. You got stagnated. Why don't you look at alternate careers? And I said, Munan, and he was grown up now. He was in second year of engineering. And he pursued me. And then, he said, change your career. Leave this city and pursue another place. And I will take care. And why we wanted to stay in the city was because of my mother, and she was growing in years and we wanted to be close to her. And so my son said, I'm here, I'm doing engineering from Chandigarh, so I'll stay and take care and you pursue your dreams. Then came Maruti Suzuki, and I joined as assistant general manager budgets and costs. at that rank in Maruti Suzuki, perhaps I was the only woman. Throughout this, I have loved working with men. I have not faced any glass ceilings. I have not faced much of resistance. I have enjoyed working with them. I used to have a very fine relationship with my team people. I've been very comfortable in my professional life. For that, I really need to thank all the men who have created happy memories for me. Then I joined Maruti Suzuki, and my son then, completed his engineering. I worked for about 1.5 years in Maruti Suzuki, and I got a call from a very dear friend, and he said, "Would you like to move?" So I said, "Where?" He says, "There's a very fine opportunity. The position is of a chief financial officer." Very surprisingly, it was a very different kind of an organization. And I had worked experience, of automobiles and wheels only. So from tractors and Royal Enfield and cars. And this was a law firm. So I asked people who were interviewing me, so I said, "Why are you considering me?" The answer I got was very good. Whatever you are doing in your organization gets translated to the legal industry. You are talking of products, and here are practices. And, they translated the whole thing into such a simplified form, and I could quickly apply my knowledge. I decided to change my career because CFO position would have not come to me in Maruti Suzuki at all. Not at all. I would have retired and gone and just it. Bold decision, I moved. And then my son completed his engineering. I started with my career with this organization. It's a law firm. It's a corporate law firm. And it's the lead law firm of the country. I'd gone for a holiday. I was having a cup of tea with my childhood friend, my sister, and I got a phone call, and my son said, "Mom, I have found the girl whom I want to marry." And then he sent me her pictures. A dream come true, my daughter-in-law. So they were married in December. That's how life really gives you beautiful, beautiful chances. 2020, the COVID year, God blessed me with a beautiful bundle of joy. And that's my granddaughter. And her name is Arya. From 1994 to 2021 has been a very challenging journey. So while I put it very simply, many problems we face. In between, my son met with a very sad accident. He was at the gym, 270 kgs of weight fell on his spine, was paralyzed for 6 months, only 18 years old. I was walking in the hospital, and I had to take a decision to go in for a spine surgery. I decided that if I don't go ahead with the surgery, my son will not be able to walk. So at 3 a.m. in the morning, in the lawns of the hospital, I took this decision that I must sign all the forms. You're tested often. What keeps you strong is that self-confidence and the faith. If you keep that faith, you're flexible to change a lot, many things fall in place. So you have to always find that one little purpose that makes you live. That one little purpose was my son, all of 4 years old, whom I have raised, and he's gifted me a lovely one. So my journey from here will be with my little granddaughter. And maybe, I was just thinking, when Arya will be preparing to go to school, I may take up that doctorate, PhD exam, which I have been so wanting to add to my academics. So it's a journey. We have to keep living it. I have seen my mom live it right up to the age of 90. That's the journey.